Hey y'all, my name's Adam and I'm the Exacto Guru. I've been watching Atheist YouTube for a few months now and I've been finding it need to share my thoughts with you. To start with, I'll be doing videos where I display my art process while talking about things from my day-to-day life. These will largely center around atheism, but will branch out to other areas as well. Basically, just what I'm thinking on a given day. Today, I thought I'd talk a bit about my journey to atheism. My parents had me baptized in the United Church of Canada when I was a baby and attended services regularly with my mother and grandmother. My father is Catholic and would take me to Mass occasionally, especially after my parents divorced. My parents were also members of Alcoholics Anonymous, and when they couldn't find babysitting, either one of them would remain home with me, or they would bring me to meetings with them if the meetings in question was open, meaning non-members are welcome. On top of this, and going to church services regularly on Sundays, my parents would enroll me in church-run day camps. A couple of years even sent me off to a Bible camp for a few weeks over the summer. It was over one of these summers that I started questioning my religion. My grandmother had given me a copy of the Children's Good News Bible, which was an illustrated Bible for kids in the early 90s. I specifically remember doing Bible study about the story of Noah, and they described him as an awful drunk who lived to 900 years old. As part of the relationships they developed in AA, my parents knew a lot of elderly people, and as a result, I had developed my own friendships with them and was taken to funerals from the age of 2 for these people. Upon hearing this, I had to ask why God would allow the awful person that Noah was to live to be 900 when allowing all these wonderful people I knew die from horrible illnesses. I tried to ask my camp leaders, and they just said things like, God works in mysterious ways. I left camp asking these questions of every adult that mentioned God in front of me, and largely got the same responses. At roughly 9, I was introduced to the scientific method via public education and learned that there was a way to test these questions. I started finding that the church couldn't answer my questions with anything more than because God, where science was able to provide more real answers. Thankfully, when I approached my mother and requested that I no longer be made to attend church, she agreed that I would only have to go on special occasions. I still could not admit to her my newfound agnosticism. I understood that I could not know whether there was a God or not, but I was not yet ready to accept that there likely is no God. Over the years, I learned that my father would never accept that I was questioning my faith. One incident in particular solidified that fact for me. We were watching a show on A&E about Madalyn Murray O'Hair. My dad pointed at the screen and told me that she was evil and hated God, all because she was trying to uphold her country's constitution and keep prayer out of schools. But he couldn't see that. He just simply saw that she was attacking his deity. I decided I wouldn't even try to discuss my agnosticism with him at that point. I remained agnostic towards God for years. I wanted a God to exist. I couldn't understand him, but I thought it would make life mean something. I thought this way until I was about 26, when an ex-partner and I became pregnant. Approximately 6 months in, she contacted me one night to let me know that she was having what she thought were Braxton Hicks contractions, based on her experience with a previous pregnancy. She said that we shouldn't worry. Our next doctor's appointment came. We found out she had actually been losing amniotic fluid, and that we would have to give her time to regenerate that lost fluid so that the baby could exercise her lungs in the womb. The doc told us to give it another 2 weeks to see how much fluid would regenerate, which we did. Unfortunately, my ex's body did not regenerate the fluid as expected, and we were presented with new options. Either we would induce labor and have a late-term abortion, or we could carry the child to term and hope for the best. The doctors told us the odds were strongly against us if we tried to keep our baby. We debated back and forth over the decision and finally realized we could not bring a baby into this world and put that child at risk of having no quality of life, and had to choose late-term abortion for our baby's sake. Following the procedure, I tried to find comfort in my friend group, who were primarily Christian. When I would try to talk about my pain, they would respond with well-meaning platitudes like, God must have needed her home. I couldn't handle this as an answer and again started seeking truth in science. The more I learned about the causes of infant mortality, the more certain I became that there likely is no God. My lack of a belief in a God was made concrete following a motorcycle accident in May of 2013. The back tire on my bike exploded when I was doing 140 kilometers an hour. I managed to slow the bike to 20 kilometers an hour before it high-sided and threw me to the asphalt. In the resulting roll, I shattered my right wrist, broke 6 ribs on my left side in multiple places, lacerated my spleen, and punctured my lung. I landed, laying on the road, staring into the overbright sky, thinking that it is a sign from God, finally, that I was alive. I made the mistake of telling my father this, who had long since figured out my agnosticism. He immediately tried to get me fully on board the God wagon. Thankfully, it actually caused me to start asking questions about my situation again. This turned me back to science in a full-on hardcore way. I even came out as atheist to my father as a result of his badgering me. And when I questioned him about why he called Madeleine Murray O'Hare an evil person, he backpedaled and just tried to paint her as a vile person. My dad and I still argue about religion, usually because he brings it up. I try to avoid the topic with him at all costs, since he insists his brain is too old to retain any of the information he needs to back up his claims. I just find it funny, since he used to be into James Randi and Karl Marx. Now he's a Trump-supporting climate change denier. This world is a weird place. Well, that's my spiel for the day. If you stuck with me this far, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm the Exacto Guru, reminding you to be excellent to each other.